All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I just got back home from the Indy Pro. So I wanted to give you guys my wrap-up of the Indy Pro and my thoughts on some of the competitors. Dave Bowers did a great job over there in Indiana with that show. It was a fantastic experience, and I highly recommend going to this show if you have not gone yet. So let's go ahead and jump straight into talking about the results here. So going into this show, I think the athlete that had the most momentum here was Luke Sando, coming off of that third-place finish at the Arnold Classic, Ohio. A lot of people were expecting him to come in here, get the win, and qualify for the Olympia, but that wasn't what happened. So the winner last year, Steve Kuclo, who's the defending champion at the Indy Pro, ended up winning here again. And I really do think it was a deserved victory. I mean, the conditioning that Steve brought, I think, is the primary factor in him winning this show. And I think one of the other surprises of this show was Akeem Williams taking second here. Now, Akeem Williams, he was very, very impressive at this show. I think one of the best versions of Akeem Williams that we've seen in a very long time. His conditioning was very good for him. I mean, for Akeem Williams, he was very conditioned, and he looked fantastic here. And I think he was a guy going into this show that not a whole lot of people were talking about as being a main contender for winning. And I was reading through the comments on some of the videos that I posted of the posing routines the other day, and a lot of people were saying they thought that Akeem even should have won the show. So that's a very big deal for Akeem to have done this well at a show like this and to have that many people saying, you know, there was an argument that he could have won. Now, while we did see one of the best versions of Akeem that we've seen in a very long time, I think, again, it really just came down to conditioning. Steve Kuclo was much more conditioned than Akeem. He looked way sharper. And again, we've talked about this many times with Akeem. It just seems like he has very thick skin in terms of giving him like kind of a watery look on stage and kind of diminishing maybe the muscle clarity and making him not look as sharp as he possibly could look. But I don't think he was off here. I think for Akeem, again, the conditioning was very, very good and probably one of the best versions we've ever seen of Akeem Williams, which I think a lot of people didn't expect here. Now, coming in third and beating Luke Sando, you had Hassan Mustafa. Now, this is a guy, I think he looked very good, but this is a guy that I think, again, a lot of people probably didn't see him being in the top three at this show or being a contender to win, with the lineup having Justin Luis Rodriguez, Luke Sando, Steve Kuclo, Akeem Williams. I think those were the main guys, the big names that were really in the conversation for being, at the top of this lineup. But Hassan Mustafa was able to get the better of Luke Sando here because, to be honest with you guys, Luke Sando came in a little bit off here, a little bit watery, and certainly not the same Luke Sando that we saw at the Arnold Classic, Ohio. Now, Luke will be competing again in the UK to get that Olympia qualification. So this will not be the last that we see of Luke in the 2019 season. Now, on my Instagram, I posted up a bunch of stories from the show of all these guys posing, and I saw a lot of people messaging me saying they thought Luke Sando had a very distended stomach. And honestly, in the transitions, I did notice that as well. I'll be honest with you guys, I did notice a little bit of distension in between poses. But Luke still was able to hit a vacuum pose on stage, which I still thought was very impressive. I think it really comes down to the ability to control the midsection during the poses. So all the bubble gut comments and stuff like that I was seeing, I wouldn't quite put Luke Sando in that category just yet. I mean, he's still an incredible bodybuilder with tremendous abdominal control. Now, coming in fifth place here, you had Justin Luis Rodriguez. I think he looked very good here, but overall in this lineup, I think the primary reason he placed fifth was because he was a little bit smaller than the majority of the guys that were really at the top end of this division. He just needs some more size to be really competitive with some of these guys. And then rounding out the top six here, you had Dorian Haywood, who was much improved from last year. He did the same show last year. He took 10th at the Indy Pro last year, so he moved up 4 placings. So very big feather in his cap to crack the top six here at this show. Overall, very enjoyable show. Decent lineup, not the deepest lineup, but I think it was a very competitive lineup. And I think it was very cool to see Steve Kuclo be able to defend his title and win for the second time. Last year was the first ever Indy Pro, so right now Steve Kuclo is the only Indy Pro champion. So congratulations to him. I'm sure he's very happy about this win here. So next up here, I want to talk about the 212 division at the Indy Pro. So the 212 was actually turned out to be a pretty good 212 lineup. So Charles Dixon actually won this show last year. So Charles Dixon was the returning defending champion. A lot of people, including myself, thought this was going to be an easy win for Charles. During my interview with Charles before the show, he was very, very confident. Charles Dixon ended up placing 7th here. So most people's predictions for this show turned out to be wrong because a lot of the things that we expected to happen here did not happen. So coming in 6th in the 212, you had Dwayne Walker. Coming in 5th, you had Errol Moore. Coming in 4th, you had Fahad Hassazi. Coming in 3rd, you had Enrico Hoffman from Germany. Coming in second, you had Aaron Polites. Now, this is a bodybuilder from Australia who I think is going to be a very, very good 212 bodybuilder in the future. He came out, man, and the crowd was just going crazy for his physique. He's a very, very impressive 212 guy. He's got a very good structure, very good conditioning, crazy legs. And overall, I think this guy is going to be a very, very dangerous bodybuilder in the 212. The one thing that I noticed, the one criticism that I would have is maybe bring up his chest a little bit. That was the only weak point that really stood out to me. But this guy, fantastic bodybuilder. And then coming in first place here, a guy that nobody really saw coming, was Noel Adame. So I was helping out Hector Mendoza, who's a photographer for MD, do some interviews for Muscular Development. And this guy is a friend of Hector's, and Hector was telling me, he's like, man, this guy's going to do very, very well. He was saying this before the show even started. And I was like, yeah, you know, whatever you say, because I'd never heard of the guy, so I didn't really know exactly how he's going to do in a lineup like this. And Hector turned out to be right. So Hector, if you're watching this, you got me. You're right. So Noel Adame won this show in the 212. Congratulations to him. Very, very promising 212 physique that he has as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.